Why did you choose this topic?
Oxygen for me is a personal movie because the subject matter is very close to my heart. I mean, I know mucoviscidose quite well. I have it myself, a very light form, but it enabled me to approach the subject matter with some familiarity, perhaps. I know it well, I guess.
Okay. And how did you manage to make this film? It's not sad, it's optimistic, no? You try to do that?
On purpose? Yeah, I guess so. I think with the subject matter it's very important not to depress people straight away, because, and also I think most patients are desperate to live as long as possible, and they are optimistic about, I mean, it's only when you realize you have a very short lifespan that you realize you have to do so much in so little time. So I think for me it was very important to have this kind of vital energy in the film infused in the characters as well.
And the music go with that? You know, there is a lot of music, it's like to be...
I think music helps because it adds another layer. I don't really like literal music, music that tells you how you should feel. So we tried to use music in a way that it's like a secondary layer. I also wanted quite a soundtrack that is quite ambient and cold and warm at the same time, which was quite a challenge because my composer makes very warm music usually, so it was a challenge for him, I guess.
So did you think that you could with this dark subject that you could give a lesson of life to people? I mean, it's not like patronizing or anything like that, but she's right, it's really optimistic, and I think people who can waste or spoil their life, if they see this film, they will probably have a change of mind.
A famous Belgian editor, Nico Leune, told me like last week. He said I had a friend of mine's daughter was very depressed, and she saw the film, and for the first time in a very long time she didn't want to kill herself.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds a bit weird, but he said it in such a way that he was really like, wow, man, if you're able to do that, that means something. But at the same time, I don't think, I didn't want to moralize. I think it's a very open film as well. I think you can draw your own conclusions, and it's an open ending as well. I mean, the main character has a very weird way of dealing with his fate, and well, I'm not gonna spoil the ending. You should just watch the film.
It's very funny because in interviews, half of the journalist says, "Why do you make such a dark movie?" And the other half says, "Yeah, besides the dark subject, it's a very positive." So it's the opinions are very different.
I think the French are just used to a really heavy movies.
I also think that it's the viewer that makes its own film, its own story.
The problem with melodrama and with films that are very manipulative emotionally is that as an audience, well, me personally, I fairly easily start feeling abused, and that was something we really tried to avoid. So we tried to underplay sentiment and kind of a less is more philosophy.
Yeah, that's why the music was good, because I think it wasn't melodramatic. It was just ambient but charged with energy, so it wasn't dull.
We had to fire the string quartets.
That's the name of the...
No, it's a joke.
Okay. And what? So here you have with you the main character. I mean the actor that plays the main character. Could you tell both of us? Could you tell us how did you work together?
How did we start? Or?
First, why did you choose him, and then how did you talk about the...
Yeah, why did you choose me?
I think we have very different memories of that. Steph sometimes tells in interviews that you know, he felt I wasn't very convinced or I wasn't very positive, but I was just really scared that he would find out that I had to have him. So I tried to not show at all that. The moment he entered, I already knew I wanted to cast him, and he was kind of the pivotal point because I could cast no one else before I found the character of Tom, because everyone else had to be somehow
In
matched
connection.
to him. Yes.
Yeah.
So we had a really hard time finding Tom until until Steph entered, and then straight away. We didn't tell him he had the part, but we started using him all the time for kind of.
It's very frustrating.
But you knew already, yeah. If people ask you 8 times to play against someone else, then you know.
Yeah, I just thought you were abusing me.
No, that only started when we I only started doing that when we started to shoot.
I don't know how the media's work in Belgium. I mean, in the Flemish part of Belgium. But did you need to have someone famous in your film? And are you experienced or not? Is it your first experience?
No, I'm not famous at all. And I think there are a couple of more known actors, Belgian actors in the movie. But I don't. But it's actually it's a question for you, but I don't think that it's important for you.
Steph is going to be very famous. But right now he's just. I mean, he's starting out. You're 23. Yeah. I was surprised by how they, because they have Steph is in a theater group, which is called FC Bergman, and they're very talented. And I saw them perform, and so I casted all of them. The whole group, just to see what would happen. I found them very exciting as a group of people.
So did you take some of the some of the actors come from the same group in the film?
Yeah, 2 of the actors.
Oh.
So the guy who plays Jimmy, Rick Verheijen, he's a classmate of mine on the theater school. So I knew Rick for a long time, and Marie. The girl who plays Annalene, the love interest of Xavier, is also a member of FC Bergman. Yeah.
And then you have Bart Hollander, who has a very smart part, but he's also
Bart Hollander, he plays one scene. A scene I think is very funny, but he plays a stagiaire, a doctor stagiaire, who is kicked on the nose, and that's also one of
and Maarten Mertens as well, your brother.
Yeah, but he. But Maarten Mertens isn't in FC Bergman, but the guy who played Lucas, Maarten Mertens indeed, is in real life one of my closest friends. So it was very nice to work with him.
We were looking for the brother, and I had a few ideas, but I wasn't totally sold on them. And that's at that point, Steph and Marie actually both recommended Maarten, and as soon as these two rehearsed. I was sold on the idea. Also because you have some physical similarities that are quite.
Maarten and me, we know each other because people introduced us at each other as brothers. Because people said to me, "You look like Maarten Mertens." I didn't know him, and they told to Maarten, "You look like Steph Aert." So then we get known each other and we become friends.
You also have something in common with your director, and also in the film you didn't have blonde hair. Is that on purpose?
Oh no, I did have blonde hair, but
not that long, maybe.
No, but
they didn't look blonde.
It was cut, so it was a little bit darker, maybe.
Okay.
But I don't know.
I'm hoping I can cut his hair now because it's getting really long and he doesn't need it anymore. So.
Okay. No, I have.
Well, I was going to ask you. So it's your first film. It looks very professional, very masterized. I don't know if you can say that. I mean, the image, the music, the directing, the actors, and so. And I've seen you've done few short films before, but each of them was prized, and so it looks like a perfect ascension.
I know what you mean.
How do you feel like? What do you think it's normal? Do you think you are lucky? Do you feel you worth it?
Of course you're lucky. I mean, if you're able to make films, if you're able to find money to get a group of people to work on a project, to to realize your own, you know, internal world or ideas, and to get them in a concrete form, and then to be able to show them throughout the world. That is pretty amazing stuff. I mean, sometimes I'm not gonna say I lie awake at night, but it is quite something. I think I'm very happy that the Flemish Fund, which is basically they kind of created this kind of new momentum. I think Flemish films before didn't really have a solid base, financing wise, but also in distribution, everything else. And I think when I graduated around that time, it really started changing. And so for me, I'm hoping personally that a lot of other Flemish directors will have a similar kind of path or career or whatever.
Yeah.
But I must say, for me personally, I graduated 5 years ago, and it's gone rather fast. It's good actually.
Do you think it has something to do with your school? Did you enjoy being at your school, or what?
I'm a teacher there now, so I'm gonna say
really?
yes. But and also about the professionalism, I think the crew, I mean the people I worked with I was the youngest on set almost, I think, from crew-wise. So their experience was, of course, also helped. It's very liberating to work with people who know their jobs really well and who can also back you up at times of uncertainty or doubt.
So now what is next?
A lot of festivals.
Yeah, looking for a distributor. No.
Yes, apparently. I'm not really that into that side of things. I mean, my producer is more involved in that. But no, a new film. I think we played our cards rather well this time around. So I'm hoping financing will proceed rather quickly. But first, of course, there's the writing process, which is hard work.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
And just one question about a festival in the snow you like?
Oh yeah, we went skiing all day. It was great. I think it's a really good combination. Of course, you're very tired at night because it's quite fatiguing physically, but I think it's quite special. It's also very unique. I think the only other winter festival we have is Sundance, and that's across the pond. So yeah, I'm hoping there will be many more, sessions.
They said
editions. Yes.
It's a new Sundance, this one in Europe.
Let's hope so.
We'll see. Okay.